Hi folks, so here we are with this week's Miami real estate market update. Last week we did Coral Gables single family. Today we're going to focus on Coconut Grove single family. Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? What's really going on out there? Not just the stories that we're seeing in the media. What's really happening? How many months of inventory do we have? So we're going to dive right into that right now so you will have exact knowledge of what's happening in the real estate market today with data. Okay, so here we are, Coconut Grove, single family, $0 to $1 million. That price point. In January, just passed, we had 10 months of inventory. In December, the month before that, we had 10 months of inventory. What does that mean? It means it's a buyer's market, meaning it would take 10 months to sell everything that's on the market if nothing else came on the market. A neutral market, as we've said before, is 6 months of inventory. Less than 6 months, seller's market, appreciating prices, seller's advantage. Over 6 months, buyer's market, depreciating prices, buyer's advantage. So again, 2 back-to-back months of 10 months of inventory, which is quite amazing given that $0 to $1 million is the most affordable price point for single family in Coconut Grove. To contrast that, go back to January of 2024. Instead of having 10 months of inventory, buyer's market as we do now, a year ago, January 2024, we had 3.2 months of inventory, much less than 6 months. That was an appreciating market at that point. It was a seller's market at that point. And just to go through the first 6 months of January 2024, last year, it was between 3.2 to 2.2 months of inventory. So complete seller's market. And then you have September 2024 became neutral. As we head into the holidays, typically you see more of a single family slowdown in the holidays, October, November, December, which stands to reason as people are focused on the holidays and other things as opposed to buying properties, single family. So you saw September, neutral market, 6 months. October, buyer's market, 16 months. November, 2.2 months of inventory, so somewhat of an aberration, seller's market. And then, as I mentioned, the last 2 months, December, January, 10 months of inventory. Okay, so now what is it doing from 1 to 3 million, let's say, 1 to 3 million in Coconut Grove? Buyer's market, seller's market. And before I do that, I want to just tell you the price per square foot that we're seeing in the $0 to $1 million range. It's $534, $596 per square foot, $430. If you look in the last, last year or so, in the under 1 million category. So now we're going to go 1 to 3 million, single family, Coconut Grove. Not looking at any other neighborhood. We're not looking at condos either. What would you guess the inventory is? So in January, drum roll please, Coconut Grove, from the 1 to 3 million, single family, Coconut Grove, seller's market, 4.8 months of inventory. Interesting. It was a buyer's market with 10 months in the under 1 million, which is counterintuitive because you'd think there's more demand for that. But in the 1 to 3 million, there's a lot of demand for single family in the Grove, seller's market in January, seller's market in December with under 5 months, 4.4 and 4.8 respectively. What was it last year, just to compare apples to apples? So it's 4.8 months of inventory, seller's market now in January. January of last year, 2024, it was 5.2 months. So it's actually more of a seller's market now in Coconut Grove between 1 and 3 million than it was a year ago. Interesting, because that's not the narrative that's out there, is it? The narrative that I'm hearing from even agents in the area is that, wow, it's really a buyer's market. Things have really slowed down. Not the case for Coconut Grove. Not the case